In the heart of a dense ancient forest, where sunlight struggled to pierce the canopy, lived a poor woodcutter. His name has been lost to time, but his story of honesty and hardship has echoed through generations. He lived alone in a humble hut, a simple structure of wood and thatch that barely stood against the wind. Every dawn, he would venture deep into the woods, his trusty axe slung over his shoulder, a silent companion in his solitary life. He would chop firewood from sunrise to sunset, his hands calloused and his back aching, all for a meager handful of coins in the village market, just enough to buy a small portion of rice to see him through another day. His life was a repeating cycle of hard work and quiet struggle, yet he never once cursed his fate or strayed from the path of integrity. One sweltering afternoon, as he was working near a crystal-clear stream to cool his brow, a sudden glint of light caught his eye. It was a brilliant, shimmering reflection, unlike anything he had ever seen in the forest. It danced on the water's surface, beckoning him closer. Curious, he set down his axe and waded into the cool stream. There, nestled among the smooth river stones, was a mask. But this was no ordinary mask. It was exquisitely crafted from pure, shining gold, its features serene and impossibly beautiful. It seemed to pulse with a gentle, otherworldly light. The woodcutter, though poor, was not a greedy man. He hesitated, wondering if it belonged to a celestial being or a royal who had lost their way. Seeing no one around and fearing it would be washed away, he carefully lifted the golden mask from the water. It was cool to the touch, but radiated a faint warmth. Thinking it a magnificent treasure, perhaps a sign that his fortunes were about to change, he wrapped it carefully in a cloth and took it home. That evening, the hut felt different. The small flame from his oil lamp seemed to dance in reflection on the golden mask, which he had placed with reverence on his small wooden table. As the moon climbed high into the night sky, casting long shadows through his window, the woodcutter sat, mesmerized by its beauty. He was about to drift into an exhausted sleep when a soft, ethereal voice whispered through the silence of the room. "Kind man," it said, the voice like the gentle rustling of leaves, "thank you for saving me." The woodcutter's eyes shot open. He looked around the tiny hut, his heart pounding in his chest. There was no one there. He must have been dreaming, he thought, a trick of his tired mind. But then the voice came again, clearer this time. He looked towards the table, and to his utter astonishment, the golden mask was gone. In its place stood a woman of breathtaking beauty. Her long dark hair flowed like silk, but it was her face that stole his breath, a what shone with the soft, warm luminescence of pure gold. Startled and speechless, the woodcutter could only stare. The woman smiled gently, a gesture that seemed to light up the entire room. "Do not be afraid," she said, her voice calming his racing heart. "I was once a fairy who served in the celestial palace of the Jade Emperor, but I was curious and playful, and in a moment of carelessness, I broke a sacred rule, As punishment, my spirit was bound within this golden mask, and I was cast down to the mortal realm, destined to drift in the currents of the earth until found by a soul of true kindness." She looked at him with gratitude shining in her eyes. "You, with your honest heart, have freed me from my prison. As a token of my deepest thanks, I wish to stay by your side and repay your kindness. I will be your wife, if you will have me." The woodcutter, a simple man who had never dared to dream of such a thing, was overwhelmed. He was humbled by her offer, feeling he had nothing to give a celestial being. But looking at her gentle face and sincere eyes, he saw not a fairy, but a kind soul seeking a home. He nodded, his heart full of a joy he had never known. From that day forward, the woodcutter's life was transformed. The woman with the golden face became his loving wife. She brought a light and warmth to his small hut that no fire ever could. Her touch was magical. The wilted flowers outside their window bloomed in vibrant colors. Their small vegetable patch grew abundant with produce. And the once drafty hut became a cozy, welcoming home. She was not only beautiful, but also incredibly hardworking and wise. She would mend his clothes with threads that seemed to shimmer and cook simple meals that tasted like heavenly banquets. Her presence was a constant source of joy and wonder. Wherever she walked, the world around her seemed to become more vibrant, more full of life. The birds sang sweeter songs, and the air felt fresher. The woodcutter was no longer just a poor laborer. He was the happiest man in the world. Their love was a quiet, profound thing, built on kindness and mutual respect. News of the woodcutter's newfound happiness and prosperity did not go unnoticed. Villagers who once pitied him now looked upon him with admiration and a touch of envy. They spoke in hushed tones of the beautiful woman who lived with him, the woman with the face of gold. They said she could make crops grow with a single touch and that her wisdom could solve any problem. Many came to their home seeking advice, and she always welcomed them with a kind word and a helping hand, her golden face veiled to shield them from her brilliance. However, whispers of such a marvel inevitably travel far, and soon they reached the ears of the most powerful man in the region, the cruel and avaricious local landlord. His heart was as cold and hard as stone, and his greed knew no bounds. A woman who could bring fortune, a face made of gold. He had to possess her. To him, she was not a person, but a treasure to be acquired, another jewel for his collection. He summoned his most ruthless soldiers and gave them a simple, chilling order. Go to the woodcutter's hut, seize the golden-faced woman and bring her to me. Do not fail. The soldiers, armed and menacing, stormed the peaceful little home. They burst through the door, shattering the tranquility the couple had built. The woodcutter stood bravely before his wife, but he was no match for the landlord's men. They shoved him aside and lunged for the woman. They grabbed at her, intending to drag her away to their master. In the struggle, one of the soldiers reached out and tore away the thin veil that covered her face. In that instant, a blinding, magnificent light erupted from her, a celestial radiance too powerful for mortal eyes. It was not a light of anger, but of pure, divine essence. The soldiers screamed and fell back, shielding their eyes, trembling in a fear they had never known. They scrambled out of the hut, falling over each other in their haste to escape the unbearable brilliance. The light softened, and the woman turned to her husband. Tears, like liquid pearls, streamed down her golden cheeks. "My love," she said, her voice filled with sorrow, "my time in the mortal world has come to an end. My presence has been revealed, and I must return to the heavens." She reached out and gently touched his face. "Do not be sad. What we shared was real and beautiful. Remember this: kindness, love, and a pure heart are the world's truest treasures. They are worth more than all the gold in the mountains." As she spoke, her form began to grow transparent, and she started to rise from the floor, her body becoming a column of soft, golden light. "Farewell, my kind husband," were her last words. The woodcutter could only watch, his heart breaking, as she ascended through the roof of their hut and into the sky. Her light fading slowly until it was just another star among the countless others. Where she had stood, a small, shimmering pile of golden dust remained on the floor. The woodcutter carefully gathered the precious dust and kept it in a small jar, a final, beautiful memory of his celestial wife. He did not hoard it. True to her last words, he used the gold, piece by piece, to help the poor and the needy in his village, spreading the kindness she had shown him. He lived out the rest of his days in peace, his heart forever warmed by the memory of his time with the fairy, and the villagers for generations to come told the story of the woman with the golden face. The divine being who taught them that true wealth is not something you can hold in your hand, but something you carry in your heart. Thank you so much for joining us for this beautiful tale. If you enjoyed this story, please give this video a like, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more enchanting stories from around the world. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay kind and stay curious.